So Ramadan is coming up. And while I identify as Christian and typically don't fast for Ramadan, this year I'm definitely thinking about it. Before we begin, I want to fully acknowledge that this is not normal time. Things are not business as usual right now. They shouldn't be. So if you are observing yourself doing some things you normally would not do, yeah, that's perfectly fine because things are not normal right now.
Hey, Monet, can you turn on your camera?
No, I cannot.
I think something's going on with my camera today. Stop that. Stop throwing that ball.
Hey, Monet, can you turn on your camera?
No, I cannot.
Maybe if I flip it.
Hey, babe, I'm on a Zoom call.
I have been on so many Zoom calls.
Hey, Carol, my husband keeps interrupting my Zoom calls. Where'd you get your titles?
I'm going to invite you to take a journey with me. Again, I'm going to explore fasting during Ramadan, but I'm not ready to jump all the way in with 2 feet, so I'm going to do a modified fast. Let me tell you about it. I will be consuming water and bone broth. I know Muslims, when they fast, they don't consume anything for the full day. So again, my fast is modified. So in the midst of that, I'm going to be employing 5 different prayers. I'm going to tell you more about that later. But right now, I want to get my colleague Naila Fazi into this conversation because I want to make sure that I'm not being offensive to my Muslim brothers and sisters by joining them and then modifying the fast to suit my needs. That's definitely not my intention, and I don't want it to be my effect. So let me get Naila pulled into this conversation.
Hi everybody, I'm Naila, the Associate Chaplain for Muslim Life.
So Naila, can non-Muslims participate in Ramadan?
Yeah, non-Muslims can definitely participate in Ramadan. Anybody who wants can participate in Ramadan. But for us, it's a time of a lot of spiritual reflection, growth, a time when we fast for religious reasons. But those of you who might be intermittent fasting, who want to add some extra depth and spirituality, maybe some more focus to your fasting, this would be a great opportunity for you to do that and be in solidarity with Muslims.
Why do Muslims fast for Ramadan?
Yeah, fasting allows us to separate ourselves from what might be going on in the world around us to really have more introspection and spiritual reflection so that we can become stronger, more spiritual well-beings.
Do I have to fast all day, or can I do a modified fast without it being disrespectful to Muslims while still saying that I am fasting for Ramadan?
So Muslims will typically fast from before sunrise to sundown for a period of 28 to 30 days. Those of you who aren't Muslim but would like to join us can modify the fasting to what works for you. So even people who might be new to Islam are not expected to fast during Ramadan the way those of us who have been fasting for years. You have to learn to adjust your body and listen to your body to do what works best for you. So I think what matters here a lot is your intention. Are you intending to try your best to fast for Ramadan and be in solidarity with Muslims? That's great. Maybe you just caveat it with, but I'm modifying it for what's best for myself. But at the end of the day, right, if you are trying to be an ally, you're trying to show solidarity, I think that's what matters. I just want to add that fasting from food is not the only way that we practice spiritual reflection during Ramadan. So there are groups of people who are not required to fast. Elderly, pregnant and breastfeeding women, for people who are on their menstrual cycles, you're not required to fast. Anybody who might be unwell. So that might mean that you're immunocompromised, or you have eating disorders, or you have some mental health challenges that prevent you from being able to keep a fast. And for those folks, we encourage them to do other things that might help their communities or feeding other people.
Do you have any recommendations for ways that we can repurpose or think differently about this time so that we can add more spiritual depth to being in quarantine?
So one practice that happens during Ramadan is called itikaf. It's where someone might spend the last 10 days of Ramadan kind of isolated from others, really just praying the entire time. And what's been interesting during this time of quarantine that might go on past Ramadan is that we are all in a space where we are kind of isolated from others. And it's really a time when I think we can turn into ourselves and find those practices and those spaces that might be most beneficial to our mental health during this time. So I would encourage you, no matter where you kind of fall in your spirituality, to find those practices that you think might help you achieve the outcomes that you're looking for during this quarantine. So let me just acknowledge that this is a very stressful time for everybody. You know, maybe food is your comfort zone, but even with that, you could still find ways to take time out of the day to find a small space in your home to really sit down and be with your thoughts.
Yeah, are there any like iftar things that our Muslim Student Association are doing that we can participate in?
So K-Monet, I'm just going to make a plug for myself. We're actually going to be having a virtual fast-a-thon on Monday, April 27th. And we have 3 ways that people can get involved. So when you wake up in the morning, you have your first meal of the day, your suhoor. You take a picture of that, you post it on social media, hashtag WFU Fast-a-thon at Muslim Life. And then during the day, you know, maybe as you're getting a little hangry, or maybe you want to take some pictures and share your mindfulness practices with us that day, post that on social media. And then at 7:30 Eastern time, we're all going to get together on a Zoom and break fast together wherever it is that you are in the country. And so we're really excited to be able to have this opportunity for people in our community to get to empathize and experience what it's like for Muslims to fast during Ramadan. So we'd love to have you join us on Monday evening. Just register. There's links on our website.
Nyla, I really appreciate you answering all of my questions and just offering up your wisdom on this particular issue.
Thanks so much for looping me in, K-Monet, and inviting me to talk about Ramadan and to ask people to join us.
Yeah, that was definitely helpful. Whether you choose to fast or not, we want to invite you all to join our Muslim brothers and sisters in the practice of prayer, praying 5 times a day. Now, you don't have to tarry each one of those prayers, which means to stay and pray for an extended period of time, but the idea of praying, or if praying is not a practice for you, of sitting and sending energy and light and love into these areas of interest, we would love for you to join us with this. As Nala mentioned, the most important part about fasting during this time is making sure that your intentions are clear. If you're having any trouble sorting through your intentions, or if you're in recovery from an eating disorder or disordered eating, or any body dysmorphia, we have resources on campus that are still available to you. Be sure to scroll down to the details in the description where I have important links and phone numbers and email addresses that have been referenced in this particular video, especially our link to our Muslim Student Association where you can participate in the fast-a-thon and where you can get more details about that. Be sure to click subscribe because we like to think we can show you better than we can tell you, and this way you'll be notified whenever we upload ritual support, wisdom, or radically inclusive care. You're really easy to talk to. But we like it when you talk back to us, so feel free to drop down into the comments and let us know if you're thinking about participating in Ramadan or fasting intermittently during this time period, or maybe even just engaging in the prayers 5 times a day for however many days you can commit to. It's up to you. This isn't a requirement. This is supposed to be an enhancement in your life. I look forward to these chats. I'll speak with you later. Take care. Bye.